Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Thursday, November the 25th. And the US have Thanksgiving holiday today and only half a day tomorrow, so that can influence markets. But with the US markets, let's just have a little bit of a look because they influence the SPY, the ASX in the off hours. So let's have a look at, NASDAQ, they're both the same, the NASDAQ and the S&P, so we can have a look at the S&P as well, though in a bit of detail if you like. But the thing is that the general direction here rather is that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, so we've got an impulse wave here, and now we're getting a corrective wave, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to finish off, and then work lower in 5 waves. Okay, so once you understand this situation here, then it makes it a little bit sort of easy for the ASX because a few things actually. Also, first of all, we need a little bit more of a push up here, and let's just check the S&P 500 because I won't be doing a video on that today. Because of the holidays. So from the top here with wave 1, this is 100 ticks here. So once again we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the A wave, and the B wave, it's good because the 5 waves that we've got here tells us that after a correction we'll get another 5 waves, and then in the correction here it's good to see that it is corrective because from this low here to here, this A wave here, as you can see roughly that it's in 3 waves. So that's telling us that it's corrective and that it's also a B wave rather than a wave 2. Because a wave 2 here would have the A wave as 5 waves. So in this little section here, just for the S&P traders, I guess. So from the low here, I've got this 1 and 2 in here, but I'll come back to that. The count I was looking at was 1 and 2 here, right? And then in blue, light blue, we need 5 waves. So wave 1 here, nice impulse wave here, 2 here, and then 1 again and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5, the third wave, the fourth wave, and we're going up for the 5th wave here that will also be in 5 waves, so that will go up to here, that will be up for wave 3, and then it appears that we need to come back for wave 4 here and then go to wave 5 here and then move down lower here. So that's the sort of, it's a sort of a good session for this. So even though the US markets will be closed, the futures market will be open, I'd imagine. So that can pull around the ES and so on. There's also another count where, see how I've got this one at the top here, there's another one where I've got, so this is wave 4 here, and little wave 5 here, and I've got this as wave 3, but I've also got this top here as a wave 5 as well. That's if I include this little wave 1 and 2 here, then it changes things a little bit. But the takeaway here is, and with the NASDAQ, is that there is further upside here, but then we can expect it to roll over based on, well, 3 things I see. The count that I've created to the upside, but that could be the loose link in the whole thing. Secondly, we've got that impulse wave down through here because we get 5 waves in the opposite direction of the trend. That means that after correction we'll come down here further. And thirdly, because we've got the A wave in 3 waves, it makes all of this a corrective rally. So taking that on board, taking that on board and coming back to the ASX here, then you could kind of think, well, if we're going to follow the US markets, we're going to try and push up a little bit, but eventually fail and move down. Now with the US markets, we've got them coming down as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave, and then moving up. So we also need to be mindful of that price action as well. because what I've got here is I've got from B down to C here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So the only other thing that can drive it down this far will be the banks. So when we're looking at CBA, for example, just on the daily chart here, the move down here appears that we've got 5 waves in play already. So we've been waiting for a rally to rally for wave B. So that can take us back up to, it'll try to close that gap and fail probably. So yeah, I mean, if I go to the tick chart and just look at this in a bit more detail here, we can do that. So I'm thinking that, as we mentioned yesterday, that the A wave here could be finished, and if this was going to rally back up in, as an A and a B and a C here, it's going to take a little bit of time, isn't it, So I think that with the US market pushing up for the short term, the banks here pushing up for the short term, and also too we're seeing iron ore here. We talked about it yesterday. So it's moved well above the 600 or 625, and it's approaching resistance here at the medium level. So halfway between 5 and 8 is the 650. So I am thinking that this is all going to be wave 1 up into here, and then wave 2 back. That's what it's looking like, and then wave 3. So it does appear that we can have a low in here for iron ore. So what I'm saying is that that's going to lift up, the resource sector as well. So we'll have the resource sector and the banks sort of heading in the same direction. But the indices, they will be, the US indices will rally for a little bit and then drop down. So I'm thinking that during the day here that we could be, could be supported somewhat before moving down. So from the top here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I was just checking on something else then, but it's okay. So we've got it down as wave 1 or wave A if we follow the US market, so wave 2 or wave B here for this. It doesn't really matter at this stage. And then this little move down, well, as you know from yesterday and the day before, we were looking up as an A wave, a B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we had that as 5, but there's only 3 waves up, so we end up getting this other one. So that makes it a little bit easier now. So yeah, it can be counted a little bit differently, like 1 and 2 here and 3 here, and then wave 4 all the way over to this point, and then wave 5 here. But I think the interesting thing here is we're also seeing 5 waves down here as well. So that means that, well, we should really make a new low coming into this space here. So that's what I'm sort of thinking. But I know that iron ore is going to hold our market, well, hold the resources up, and the banks could get a bit, could drop to the downside a bit, but just generally they're expected to rally in that B wave, So if I go to the tick chart here and take a closer look at this, so from, that's right, I have changed it a bit. Yeah, I've got a different slightly count for the B wave or wave 2 up here, but that doesn't really matter. We were looking for that top, and we've got that top. And then here we can see that we've got a nice wave 1 here, a bit like the Bitcoin count actually, 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C here for 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the wave 5 of 1 here. And then we have a pretty nice ABC pattern here where we have the A wave here, the B wave here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I guess technically we could short under these lows here for this. But we know that that the indices, the US indices, they want to push higher, and the resources want to push higher. the banks generally need to rally, but they could drop further, and it will be the banks that sort of pull this around a bit. So see where ANZ opens up, and then a few minutes later, CBA, when it opens, will confirm that direction for ANZ, wherever that's going to be. So yeah, I mean, we should be bearish really at this point, but I know that there's sort of further upside here, I guess. Yeah, have I got the ABC wrong here? And maybe we'll get some other sort. I mean, this is big enough. This is a nice size for wave 2 compared to wave 1 here. I mean, we could end up, if I've got that A, B and C wrong, well then the other way that we could look at this, I suppose, is putting wave C over here and wave A over here, and using that low and putting wave B over here, where we have a situation where we come down for wave B and A, B, C here, and then another move up here and then fold over. So that could be the other pathway for this as well. So any short trades up here, just keep them small, but as it moves down lower, then look to add to those positions at that point. But I'll just stay with this here for a moment, because I mean that looks like it's 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, fourth wave and fifth wave. So there's a good case for just staying on point here with this, because there's 5 waves up there, we can look for 5 waves to come down, and there will be a bounce off this low coming back and checking at this point here. So the other point here is really just to keep sort of building in the best you can. I mean, sometimes it's better just to think of the price over here and then sort of dollar cost average the positions into this. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at with this. So I can see that the market will want to hold up, but at the same time, based on the S&P 500, probably tomorrow we'll see this rally down, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, so that's the ASX, and we talked about the bank. I'll just have a quick look at this bank here. This is ANZ. It has broken this low here. And the thing about that is that this move to the downside here, it appears that this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So we've got a series of 1s and 2s here, and the third is starting to break down. So this could also be wave 1 coming back for wave 2, testing a little bit higher here. So it'll be interesting to see. We can see that it's been sold off here a bit, but it will probably want to try to push a little bit higher. But essentially it should, it can pull up to these old open and closes here at 61.8%, but it should start to move down at that point, because because it made a new low here in 3 waves, so it's just not finished, unless we've got some sort of. The only other thing I can think of here is that I've got the count wrong, and we're going across for this wave 4 here, but we're doing it in a sideways triangle pattern, because you could just about get 5 waves out of that, but you could probably get 3 out of that. I mean, that's in 3, that's in 3, so we could probably squeeze 3 out of that. I know we can squeeze 3 out of that, and now we're getting 3 into this here. So maybe we've got some sideways triangle pattern here that needs to be acknowledged in some way or another. So I'll just put that here for the time being, just to remind me about possible triangle pattern across here for this. Obviously we've taken out, sitting on those lows, so that's okay. I mean, we'll see. I was just thinking it's an A, B, C, D and E here, finished here for that. But interesting to see what rally. So if we get overlapping wave structures coming up here, for example, right, then we could probably move over to that. So we really need to see this either move down and finish this structure to this impulse wave, or if it's going to go back up and create overlapping wave structures higher up here, then we'll look at it as a wave 4 pattern. Alrighty, over to the resources. So the resources are looking quite good because of resource stocks looking good because of iron ore. So it's up another 5 or 6%. So it's really sort of bolted to the upside there. So I have started to do a little bit of work on it over the last sort of few days. I've done more on it today, so I'm starting to look at it as an impulsive wave to the upside. So that's the low, okay, and I'm looking at it going up for green wave 1 at 650 or close to it. It needs to find support on top of 600 of group 1, so 630. But yeah, it's had a nice little run up here, as you can see. It's straight as an arrow, and yeah, there's a lot of interest here. I've looked, starting from this little low here, I was looking at 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 for 1 here and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then going up to the fifth wave here. It's extending out a little bit, but 1 and 2 here, and from 2 here basically going up for 3, 4 and 5. So we need, there's more to come from this. Will it reach the 650? Probably will. But that's where, and then we'll be looking for an ABC back here. But the beautiful thing about this, what's happening here, is that the main point is that we are seeing an impulse wave in the opposite direction of the previous trend. So that means that after 5 waves here, then we'll get an ABC correction, and then we'll see another 5 up. So this, as an impulse wave developing here, gives us more confidence to go into iron ore stocks. We're also seeing some of the other commodities kind of support the next run up as well. So there is things are sort of firming up a little bit. It's interesting to see the US dollar index be strong, and it will continue to be strong. But yeah, that's just, the other thing here is, I'm just going to cut to the Australian dollar here as well. We talked about this yesterday, so I won't go into the bigger picture here, but one of the things to confirm this top here, be it a wave 4 or B wave here, was taking out that low here. So we're not at that low just yet, but we have pushed down further, and the 72 is, well, it's an important number, and well, we can see that because roughly these lows are all here. I mean, folks would probably say 70, it's all about the 70, and 70 carries a lot of weight, of course, but on a more subtle level, the 72 plays a stronger part. And yeah, so we're starting to see that break down here. So that means that in one way or another, we're going to see further downside here. Now, it could be that we just get, you know, that we get, say, over here as wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and down for 5 here and then push up here. But I have to say, as a wave 4, it's it's rather high, and it's overlapped over here, but we don't have to worry about that there. And all I need to do is count 5 waves in this. I have to just check that out there. But yeah, better off being the B wave. So I think that we could end up with a deeper correction rather than, where I mentioned the other day, I think it was was it the weekly or the monthly or something or other? Yeah, back down into like closer to 65. That's a medium level down here. Well, there we go. So I think we could end up down there on that. But you think that with commodities moving to the upside, that overseas money would come in and pick this up. I mean, really, it's just hitting supply here, isn't it, and being pushed back down. Anyway, that's that for that. And let's just have a look at stock. So, first of all, ASX BHP. So, from yesterday's little push up, we can see that, well, let's put it this way, that gap in there would be the third wave. So in one way or another, we've got 1, 2, 3. I haven't really pulled it apart. I don't know if we should put this here or a little bit further up yet, but I can see that this is impulsive here. So I think it's important for us to get a position. And what I mean by that is really the closest largest number is 40 here. So if we can get one position below here and then a position above, in due course, we still need the first high above the level and all that sort of stuff, a classic trading levels pattern here. But yeah, I think that's the go there for that. And yeah, so the other ones, of course, we've got Fortescue. So this is just on 100 ticks here. So we talked about this this low here and starting to count this up here. I don't know if I've got the right count here just yet, but I'm okay with 1 and 2 here and 3 and 4 and 5 for 1. It may be a blue wave 1 rather than a green wave 1, but that will become apparent as we move up here further with this. So we've got a position on the open here, and yeah, so see, I've started it from here, which I hope is correct. No, I think I'm on the right track. The only other thing here that I'll just keep the stops away, because I think that the only other thing that could sort of trip us up is if all this move up here was wave 1 and then pull back, So this is the 50-60% retracement level at this stage from this trend here. So, because I don't think that's like wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, do you know what I mean? And we'll pull back deeper at that point. I think that's kind of it. So the 1650 may get retested, but I think our stop is safe here. So if you would like to get another position here, then that would be the go, because I tried to get one under the level here, but obviously it's gapped, so that was thing. But if we can do our best to get another one in here, the 18s is important as well. We'll probably see it pull back there, so we'll probably see something like this. Yeah, and then a bit of it, because remember that we're looking for a top in iron ore as well. So yeah, with wave 1 going up for iron ore, so we can pull back. So, but even if we take that trade, I'm going to keep the stop out of the way. I don't think that so don't over trade anyway. Okay, but the beginning of the trend is kind of important that you can use less money in and have wider stops. And sometimes that's much safer than putting more in and having closer stops. So yeah, and Rio be much the same as well. So with Rio here, looking at this as the bottom, I'm not sure about this particular structure here just yet, okay, but this move here is starting to look impulsive. So I've got wave 1 sitting just here with wave 2 here. I still need to put a bit of work into that, but what I can see here is that this move here is corrective. So that means that we can go long at this point. So you can just set that up a bit closer at that point, but the market will probably come back and test this area. So just be mindful of that. We'll leave the stop out of the way. In fact, I'm just going to drop it a little bit back over here for this. Yeah, I need to understand this move here a little bit. I'm just assuming that's wave 3 and 4, but I need to make sure that it's correct, you know, so a little bit more work to be done here. So we're working through the levels here. So from 90, we've got 1, 2, 3, which is group 1. We seem to be sticking to group 5, so we shouldn't really come back, but we could test that. 98 is the next one. 8's a profit-taking number, and of course 100 we've got as the main number there. So yeah, just sort of the idea was to build in positions here. You could probably pick up a few more on the pullback here. We'll check on that, see if we can get 2 positions in this space, but then to build on top of the 100 as well. So looking very good for the resource sector. Now, quite often as the resource sector pushes up, then the banking sector can push down, which we're kind of thinking that as well at the moment, because if we think about these stocks like BHP and so on, they have moved down a long way, and they're sort of at their bottoms now. So and CBA are in their first little leg to the downsides, but still these resources still need to come up to wave B in a lot of cases, and then maybe have another leg down. So we're just sort of trading this leg up here. They could continue. We'll see about that, but CBA in that they've come down for their first leg, they've got the second leg, and they've got the third leg to the next leg to come down. So we'll see if they move together or they don't. Because if they don't move together, it really makes it difficult for the ASX200 as well. If you've got the finance and the resources going in the same direction, then the ASX will, you know, swiftly move along. But yeah, the ASX is always in a rock and a hard place. You know, it's sort of pulled by the banks, it's pulled by overseas markets, and then you've got the resource sector as well. So it's always in a rock and a hard place. Okay, so they're the resource stocks, and I think this is where the opportunity is. You know, in the iron ore. So yeah, I'll leave those thoughts with you. Alrighty, cheers.